here we are in London, Soho for HereComesTheBoss.com, the centre of the British film industry. And here's one of those young ladies who makes all the magic happen around here. Not one of them, it's one of the editors. Phil Diprose Fiddly-de-dee, a very fine editor. Now, you may have heard of The Bourne Ultimatum, or Shrek 3, or Harry Potter, just some of the films that Phil saw at the cinema this summer. But you've been involved in some very memorable projects, haven't you, Phil?
Many of them, including...
Let's not talk about that now, not much time. Heaven knows, Phil, RealWorld magazine have got it right this year. Because you candidates out there, if you want to submit, you can support your submission with a video. And each video can be voted on by your university audience. So I thought we'd better give these hopefuls out there a few pointers about how to shoot a film, because heaven knows you've made a few bad ones in your time. And we'll make it interesting with a few tricks that Phil and the rest of the T-boys here in Soho have picked up over the years. Before we start, you may not need to listen to this video at all, because if you can rally 15 or more of your graduate friends from your university to submit a video into this year's competition, have a chat with your student union, they'll get in touch with us, and we'll come down for the day and film you at your university for your submission, especially if you live in Surrey. So here we go, Phil. Step 1, the basics of filmmaking. Take a look at this face. Who does this remind you of? That's right. Or sometimes even this fella here. So let's see this lovely face.
If you're positioned with a bright light behind you, say a window or an open door, you'll get lens flares, which are just as unsightly as denim flares. And silhouetting will occur. Put the light over the shoulder of the camera, so it's facing the subject from a slight angle. If you don't have a light you can position, just angle a large white thing, like Rick Waller at the subject. A whiteboard or a piece of card will reflect a surprising amount of light onto it. If you're filming a straight piece to camera, try and insert a couple of different frame sizes. It just helps break things up and move them on a bit. Remember, sound is perhaps more important than visuals. Here's Phil telling us about an all-male religious cult he's founded, but we can't hear him. So keep the microphone close. If you've got something to say, we better hear it. So even if you shoot a lovely scene but it sounds like... Don't lose heart. Dub it over later.
When I was in Cub Scouts, we used to cut the long grass in just our shorts. Our Kayla would stand on a stepladder and wash off the grass with cold water.
Now, a lot of people have been saying about Graduate of the Year that films should be roughly 3 minutes and certainly no more than 5. And you may think, well, that's not long to talk about my achievements. But Phil, would you agree with that? Size is everything?
I think you're right, Hanson. This is one of the few cases where shorter actually is better. No one wants to sit through an hour-long film.
When you say in this case, Phil, what else are you referring to, you're thinking of there?
Longer films, perhaps.
That's a lovely answer. You can get a lot in 3 minutes. That's what we're trying to say. Keep it interesting, because you never know who's watching. Phil, what about you as Graduate of the Year? What would you have put in if we were to sum up your university career in about 3 minutes?
It would be an art house, black and white art house tale of misery and poverty.
A little bit of cry freedom. Where were you at university, Phil?
The home of misery and poverty, Plymouth.
The home of gin and sailors. I love that town. Howdy doody Plymouth. Get something online, get it up here, and see whether you could win Graduate of the Year, unlike Phil. We've also made another informative and hygienic short film that will give you some tips on how to make your video entry even more interesting. Use special effects, if you like. So have a look at that and get yourself filming. We're expecting great things. Come on, you've got to be in it to win it. Ta-ta!